Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. So we will continue our discussion on economy. We were in the module social sector. Okay, so we have so far completed inequality we have done, and then we have done with poverty. We have discussed the methods or the ways in which poverty is measured. All the different committees we have discussed: Lakadwala committee, Rangarajan committee, Tendulkar committee, all these experts group we have discussed, and we have seen different important terms related with poverty. Now in this session we will be discussing about unemployment. Okay, so this session is about unemployment. Now the question is, if you are preparing for this exam, are you unemployed? Okay, so most of the students think that you are unemployed and you are preparing for this exam. Actually, when you are preparing for this exam, you are actually studying. You are not part of labor force. You are not seeking job. And unemployment is a situation where you are actually seeking job and you are not able to find job at the prevailing wage rate. Okay, so you are willing to work, but you are not able to find a job at the prevailing wage rate. That is what unemployment. So when you are studying, you cannot consider yourself as unemployed. Okay, so unemployment is always expressed in terms of labor force. Now, what do you mean by labor force? Those who are willing to work, they are part of the labor force. So when you're studying, you're a student and you're not part of labor force. So when we discuss about unemployment, you will not be considered as unemployed if you're preparing for this exam or if you're studying. Okay, so that has to be understood first. Unemployment is always expressed in terms of labor force. So let's suppose 130 crore population is there overall, and if people willing to work are maybe 55 crore, 60 crore. Okay, so the labor force will be very less. And unemployment is actually calculated on the basis of labor force. So let me write down a brief definition about unemployment. It is a situation in which a person who is able and willing to work at the prevailing wage fails to find a job. So when we calculate unemployment rate in terms of percentage, we will be calculating not on the basis of the whole population, but on the basis of labor force. Okay, so that has to be understood. Unemployment or employment is actually expressed in terms of labor force. When I'm saying 10% is unemployed or 5% is unemployed, what does that mean? 5% of not the population, 5% of the labor force. Okay, so that has to be understood. It is expressed in terms of labor force. Now, who all will come in the labor force? The people between the age 15 to 59 will be coming under labor force. Okay, so the labor consists of people of working age, that is 15 to 59, and if you are unable to find work, at the same time you are willing to do the job at the prevailing wage rate, you are not able to find any job, then you are unemployed. Okay, see, you may be willing to work, but let's suppose the prevailing wage rate is 100 rupee and you are demanding 500 rupee, and then you may not get a job. That is not considered as unemployed. You are willing to do a job at the prevailing wage rate and you are not able to find a job. That is unemployment. Okay, if you're asking for more rate, it is your choice. Okay, it is not unemployment. And then what is this concept? Labor force participation rate. You will see this concept everywhere when you're reading the economic survey. Also, you'll come across this. LFPR, labor force participation rate, is actually the labor force upon total population. Okay, so labor force divided by total population into 100 when you express this in terms of percentage. Now, as per NSSO data 2011-12, 36% is the LFPR. Okay, so 36% LFPR, that means 36% of the population are willing and able to work at the prevailing wage rate. So we will be trying to estimate unemployment or employment in terms of this 36% of labor force only, okay, not the entire population. So out of the total population, this is how it is to be interpreted. Out of the total population, 36% is willing and able to work at the prevailing wage rate. Okay. Now, what is labor force? Otherwise, you can express like this: labor force equal to workforce plus number of unemployed, right? So workforce means they are already in the job, and number of unemployed means they are looking for the job. So that is what the total labor force. So this labor force will be like this, okay? So workforce plus number of unemployed, you will get the total labor force. So if you need to calculate the unemployment rate, you will see this number of unemployed divided by labor force into 100. Similarly, if you need to get the employment rate, workforce divided by labor force into 100, not the total population. But when we calculate LFPR, it is upon the total population. Out of the total population, how many is willing to work is what coming under LFPR. But when we calculate unemployment, number of unemployed divided by not total population but the labor force, okay? So who are willing and able to work at the prevailing wage rate only we will consider when we calculate unemployment, okay? What is underemployment? Underemployment, see, it can be considered as a part-time activity, or a person is employed in any activity which is not equal to or not commensurate with his ability or experience or knowledge, okay? So if you are better qualified and you are employed in an area where that much qualification is not required, that may be considered as underemployed, not unemployed. Okay, and similarly, if you are in a part-time setup, then also it is considered as underemployment. Okay, so that's about underemployment. Now let's look into the measurement of unemployment. This is the most important part. The first part is important, that is a conceptual part. When you read economic survey and all, you will come across all these concepts. LFPR is very important, labor force participation rate, simply labor force upon total population. Now here, let's look into the measurement of unemployment. Measurement of unemployment. The first one is usual status unemployment, okay? Usual status unemployment. Now let me write down first and then I'll explain. Under this, those people who are included in labor force who were available for work or working for major part of the year, major part of the survey, major part of the reference period, that is more than 182 days. So what you need to understand here is, under usual status unemployment, what do you mean by labor force? Labor force is those who are available for work or they are working for major part of the year. That means 182 days or more. So if you are available for 182 or more days, then you will be considered as part of labor. Okay, now under usual status unemployment, employment or unemployment is actually measured on the basis of principal and subsidiary status. I'll tell you what is this. So first let's look into the principal status. The first one, usual principal status. Usual principal status, UPS, okay? See, under this, you are considered as employed. For that, there are two conditions. First, you have to be part of labor force. Then you should be getting job for more than half of the days in which you are available to work, okay? So first you need to be part of labor force. Let's suppose if you need to be part of labor force, you need to be ready to work for more than 182 days. So you're ready to work for more than 182 days, okay? And then you should be getting job more than half of this. That means more than 91 days you should be getting job. And it is not necessarily 182. You may be willing to work for 200 days. So if you are ready to work for 200 days, you will be considered as employed when? If you are getting job for more than 100 days. If you are getting less than 100 days, you are considered as unemployed as per usual principal status. I hope you understood. So the first condition is those you should be part of labor force, and got job for major part of the period during which they are available for work. So I hope this is understood. So first you need to be part of labor force, as I have already discussed what is labor force. Okay, labor force is between that particular category 15 to 59, and here you will be considered as part of labor force only if you are available for work for more than 182 days. So you need to be available for that 182 days. Okay, then unemployment and employment is based on this criteria. If you are getting more than half of the days which are available, then you are considered as employed. If you are not getting job for more than half, then you are considered as unemployed. Now let's look into the subsidiary status. So the second one is subsidiary status. Okay, see now here you need to understand one thing. Here let's suppose you are ready to work for 180 days. Okay, then this method is not applicable, because in usual principal status, firstly you have to be part of labor force. If you are working only for 180 days, you are not part of labor force. The condition is 182 days you should be available. So you are now not part of labor force. Okay, so these people, and if they are working for more than 30 days, okay, so you are not part of labor force just because you are not ready to satisfy this condition. You are available for work for 180 days only, or maybe for 150 days only, or even for 50 days only. Okay, but if you work for more than 30 days during the survey period, you are considered as employed under subsidiary status. Also, if you are part of labor force, okay, and if you are part of labor force, let's take this case as I have discussed here, 200 days, and if you are employed means you need to work for more than 100 days. Okay, so if you are working for 90 days, you are considered as unemployed. So you are part of labor force but unemployed because you didn't get job for more than half of the days in which you are available. But still you work for more than 30 days. Those people will also be considered as employed under subsidiary status. So under subsidiary status, those who are not part of labor force, okay, and those who are classified as unemployed under principal status, if they work for more than 30 days, they will be considered as employed under subsidiary status. Okay, so let me write down this, not completely. Either included, not included in labor force, not included in labor force, either not included in labor force or considered as unemployed, considered unemployed under UPS, okay, this usual principal status. If they work for more than 30 days, they are considered as employed, okay, under subsidiary status. So I hope you understood what is principal and subsidiary status. Now here the second next category is usual principal and subsidiary status. Usual principal and subsidiary status, okay, UPSS. So usual principal and subsidiary status, it is nothing but principal status plus subsidiary status. Both will be coming here. That means you are part of the labor force and you are employed as per principal status, and you are employed as per subsidiary status will be coming under UPSS. Okay, so this is the next category. So first, if you understood this principal status and subsidiary status, then there is no problem. In usual principal and subsidiary status, both will be coming. Okay, now I'll give you the NSSO data, NSSO survey data 2011-12. okay, usual principal status 2.7% unemployed, and usual principal and subsidiary status 2.2% will be unemployed. Obviously unemployment rate under UPSS, usual principal and subsidiary status, will be less than usual principal status because you are considering those people who work for more than 30 days. Okay, those people who are considered as unemployed under usual principal status can be considered as employed under subsidiary status. So obviously here unemployment will be less. Unemployment in terms of percentage or in terms of numbers will be less when it comes to usual principal and subsidiary status, because you are combining both possibilities. So I hope this is understood for all of you. Usual principal status and subsidiary status. Now let's look into the next one, current weekly status. current weekly status. See, this is very liberal one, very lenient condition is here. Under current weekly status CWS, you are considered as employed if you got an hour of job on any one of the day in a week. Okay, that means in a week, any day you take, you got 1 hour of job, you are considered as employed. Very lenient condition here. It is not that half an hour in this day and half an hour in the next day. 1 hour today, and in this week there is no other job, still you are considered as employed under CWS. Okay, let me write down this. Under this, those people are regarded as employed who got even an hour of job on any one day of the week. So it's not that every day you need to get minimum 1 hour. Any one day if you get 1 hour job, then you are considered as employed. 2 hour obviously employed, 3 hour obviously employed, half an hour not employed. So if you are asking me Monday half an hour, Tuesday half an hour, that is also not considered as employed. Okay, so I hope this is clear for all of you. And NSSO data, unemployment rate as per weekly status is 3.7%. Okay, unemployment rate is 3.7%. That means out of the total labor force, not out of total population, out of total labor force, 3.7% is not employed under current weekly status. Now let's look into the third one, current daily status. Current daily status. Okay, CDS. So usual principal status we started. So we have seen under usual status unemployment, we have taken the survey, that is the reference period as 1 year, and in that we have seen subsidiary and principal status. Okay, by taking 1 year reference, then we have seen CDS or CWS, weekly status, current weekly status. There we are taking the reference period of 1 week. Now here we are going to take reference period of 1 day. Okay, so the reference period is actually reduced. So here what they'll do is it takes into account the activity status of each day, whatever you are doing every day. Let's suppose you are working less than 1 hour, then you are considered as unemployed. You are working for 1 to 4 hours, then you are considered as half employed. If you're working for more than 4 hours, then you are considered as employed. Okay, like this you will be measuring the unemployment. So current daily status, it measured in terms of percentage or man days. Okay, it takes into account the activity status of labor force during each day of the survey week. Okay, so it takes into account the activity status of each day of the survey week. So let's suppose less than 1 hour, you will be considered as unemployed. Okay, and 1 to 4 hours, you will be considered as half employed. Okay, and more than 4 hours, you are considered as employed. So under current daily status, if you need to be considered as employed, at least 4 hours you have to get the work every day. Okay, I'll show you one example. Let's take some make a table. Days, I'll take working hours. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 days in a week. Okay, so first day you work for, let's say, 5 hours. Second day you work for 6 hours. Okay, then again 6 hours. Okay, then the fourth day you worked half an hour. Okay, and then say fifth hour 3 hours. Fifth day you work for 3 hours. Sixth day you work for 6 hours, and seventh day Sunday you opted not to work. Okay, you took leave, so you're not ready to work on 7th, that is Sunday. Now let's consider the employment status here. Employment status. So as per what we have discussed, more than 4 hours, it is employed. So we'll put 1 there. So 1, because employed, here employed, so 1. Third day also employed, because more than 4 hours, 1. Here not employed, so 0. Now 3 hours, it is half employed, so we will put half. 6 hours employed, so we'll put 1. Now here Sunday he is not ready to work. So 0, not 0 here, because see, you are not ready to work, then you are not part of labor force. So this day you are not part of labor force. So we can't say this is unemployed or employed. We can say unemployed or employed if you are part of labor force only. So we are putting a dot there. So total you can see 4.5 man days he employed and 1.5 man days unemployed. Okay, 4.5 employed, 1.5 unemployed. Now if you need to see this percentage, CDS, unemployed man days, divided by total man days into 100. Okay, man days or person days, whatever you want, you can write. Okay, so unemployment man days, just like normal case, total unemployed population divided by labor force. Here unemployed man days divided by total man days. Okay, so here unemployed man days is 1.5, total man days is 6, because you are available for work for 6 days only. So out of that only you can calculate. So divided by 6 into 100, so that will be 25%. So in this context, if you see unemployment, what percentage unemployment? 25% unemployment. Okay, so this is relatively more better, and it is the most comprehensive concept of unemployment, as it takes into account unemployment as well as underemployment, because here we are talking about half employment concept. So it is the most comprehensive concept of unemployment. So the NSSO data will give you 2011-12 usual status unemployment. The first one, usual status unemployment. Under that we have seen UPS, what percentage? 2.7%. And then we have seen UPSS, usual principal and subsidiary status, that was 2.2%. Okay, so what is UPS? You are not getting job for more than half of the days in which you are available for work, plus you are part of labor force. Second one, you may be not part of labor force and you may be considered as unemployed under usual principal status, but still you work for more than 30 days, you will be considered as employed under subsidiary status. UPSS means you will be adding UPS and subsidiary status, so obviously unemployment rate will be less, and that's why you can see here there is a reduction in unemployment. Second, under CWS, as I've already told you, 3.7%. And third one, current daily status, it is 5.6%, and I have told you this is the most comprehensive concept of unemployment. So if you see, the first one measures chronic unemployment, second one also measures chronic unemployment with a reduced reference period of 1 week. So third one is the most comprehensive because it takes into consideration the underemployment also. Next session we will talk about different analysis of unemployment, labor bureau survey also we will discuss. Okay, different terms related to unemployment which you can get in exam, everything we'll discuss in the next session. If you have any doubt, you can get in touch with me here. There's my Instagram ID, or join the Telegram channel for all the videos. So see you.